Hey guys, my name's Kenny Bray. I'm the Director of Student Ministries here at First United Methodist Church. What a joy it is to be here with you today. Miss Laura asked me if I would fill in and do a Sunday school video for her, and I jumped at the chance. Anytime I get to spend time with students or children and share God's love and His message, I love those kind of things, and so it has been a pleasure to do this. A little bit about me. Again, I'm the student director here at First Church. That means I'm the youth director for kids grades 5th through 12th grade. My wife Debbie, who is a preteen Sunday school teacher, we live here in Georgetown. We will be married this year. 25 years is our anniversary coming up in November. I have two kids at home, Ethan Bray, who is a senior at Southwestern University across the street, and Adam Bray, who is just graduated from Eastview High School and is going to Pace University in New York this fall, we hope, if everything clears up. So that's a little bit about me. We've kind of got our elements here for our to start our Sunday school lesson, and you know, this cloth is a sacred cloth, and it kind of reminds us that this space is sacred, and it's time to be intentional about our worship, and time to take a deep breath and calm down from all the hustle and bustle that's going on around us. And then we've got our cross and our globe and our candle, which kind of represents the Trinity, that God is the Creator, God is the Son, and God is the Holy Spirit. So Laura asked me to kind of bring a joyful, something that brings me joy to this. And I'm filming in the youth area, which this place brings me joy. It is full of pictures and memories of all the lessons and trips and outings that we've done. There's pictures on the walls that remind me of all the great things and places that we've been and done. It's not as joyous lately because, let's face it, there's nobody here. But the pictures do remind me of times past and the future of what's to come. So this is one of my favorite pictures, and it's in the hallway right as you come in the door. And it's from a trip in Arkansas that we took. And I don't know if you can see it. It's got a bunch of the kids and students jumping up in the air with big smiles on their faces. This was after a hard day's work, and Leighton is holding a little girl from the daycare that we did work for, and that was just a very, very special trip, and it just reminds me of how we share God's love everywhere we go with everyone we meet. A personal joy, like I said, is being here with you guys, spending time with you guys right now and doing this for you is a joy. The candle that we have here kind of represents and reminds us that the light of God's love is always with us, even if things aren't going as planned, even if things are not going quite right. If we're having a bad day, if we're just having a little bit of trouble in our daily lives, this candle represents God's light, and that God's with us everywhere we go and all the time. So I'd like you to pause this video if you'd like, and share some joys and concerns with your family at this time. Okay, so today's story is talking about when Jesus walked on water. And this is a story that's in actually 3 of the 4 Gospels. It's in Matthew, Mark, and John. And it is a story about faith. And so kind of a background to it. The disciples and Jesus had just finished feeding a whole bunch of people with a little bit of fish and a little bit of bread. You guys remember that story? So now Jesus, after that, Jesus tells his disciples to go ahead and get in a boat and sail across the lake, and he'd hook up with them later. And the disciples say, "Okay, we can do that. You know, we'll see you later." And so they get in the boat, and they head across the lake, and everything's calm and it's good, and then it turns dark, and the wind starts to pick up a little bit, and the waves start to crash, and the disciples start to get nervous, and they're starting to get scared. And I would too. I was out in the middle of a lake. The wind starts blowing, the waves are crashing against the boat. You can't see anything, and then all of a sudden the wind starts to calm down a little bit, and the waves start to ease. But they see something in the distance, and they're like, "What's that? What's on the water?" And they see something walking on the water, and they think it's a ghost. And I gotta admit it, I would too. Wouldn't you think it's strange to be out in the middle of a boat and all of a sudden you see somebody walking across water, and I would think that'd be a little odd. And so as the image got closer, they're like, who is that? Who is that? And Jesus said, it's me, it's Jesus. And so Peter said, okay, I'm buying this. It's Jesus. Jesus, if that's you, Lord, ask me to come to you, and I'll walk to you. And Jesus said, okay, Peter, come on out. Come to me. And so Peter gets out and starts walking towards Jesus. And he's making his way there, things are looking good, and all of a sudden a little wind picks up, and then the waves start to crash a little bit, and all of a sudden Peter loses his focus on Jesus and starts to look around, and he starts to sink. And he's like, help me, and Jesus reaches down and helps him and pulls him up and says, Peter, you had such little faith. And that's kind of where our story ends and what it's all about. It's like sometimes in life things don't go our way. We could have something upset us at home, or something that scares us, and we lose focus on God and God's love, and we focus on those other things, the distractions that are in our lives. So Peter got overwhelmed with fear by the wind and the waves. And that caused him to lose his faith and caused him to lose his focus a little bit. So what kind of things make you nervous and scared that might overwhelm you a little bit? And how can we remember our faith in God during those scary times to get us through, to focus back on God? And I know for me lately, with all the news that's going on with the coronavirus and everything else going on, it's such a distraction. And sometimes I get caught up in that distraction and I forget, right, that I start to worry and I start to think bad things, and then I have to calm myself and refocus and know that God has got me. God is with me. And what I love about this globe that we have, and it's a message that I'd love to see, and it's located in our pre-team room, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says, I am with you always, even to the ends of the earth. And that's from Matthew 28:20. And that's a great message for us to have, right? I mean, that God is with us all over and everywhere we go, in all the places that we're at, when we're sleeping, when we're awake. We just need to have faith. We just need to keep that focus on God, and God will get us through it. So in our story today, Jesus walked on water, and Peter started to walk on the water, and then he became frightened and he started to sink. So I thought it'd be fun to do a little activity today that see things and compare things that float and some things that sink. So join me in the kitchen and we'll have a little experiment. So for today's activity, we're going to see what some common household items or stuff we have up here in the youth area, what items float and what items sink. So I hope Miss Laura doesn't get mad, because I went in and raided the closet a little bit to get a few things from her, and I brought a few things from home, and I got a few things from the youth area kitchen. So let's see what floats and what sinks. And we'll start off kind of easy, right? So let's say a piece of wood. So a piece of wood, what do you guys think? Float or sink? I'm saying float. Oh yeah, floats real easy. What about a starburst? You guys ever had a starburst? Oranges are my favorite color. So let's see. Oh, that's sunk, right? So let's try something else. How about Legos? Legos. So I know one Lego would probably float, but what if we built it in a wall? What if it's a wall of Legos? Let's see what happens. Nope, still floats. Okay, what about a chip clip? You guys have these around the house? My kids don't ever put these on the chips, so the chips go stale. So how about a chip clip? Chip clip sank. What about a rubber band? Rubber band. Rubber usually floats. Let's see. Oh, that sank too. Oh my goodness. So let's see, what else? How about an onion? I brought this from home. What about an onion? You guys think sink or float? I think it's gonna float. It did float. Let's see, what else? This is pretty heavy, okay? Cream style corn. I don't like the stuff, but my kids like it. So let's see if this floats or sinks. I think it's gonna sink. It's pretty heavy. Oh yeah, it sank. Let's see. Let's take that out. What about a candle? Float or sink? The wood floated. I think this is gonna float. It does float. Couple more. What about a crayon? A crayon's kind of like a candle, right? I think it'll float or sink. I think it's gonna float. Oh, crayons sink. Huh. Okay, I've got two more items. I've got a jar of popcorn, which is really heavy, and an A&W root beer. Okay, it's all full, it's not empty. So let's see about this. What do you think? Float or sink? It's got a lot of air in there, a lot of carbonation. It might float. Oh, it sank. But it's trying to float. Look, it won't stay. See, it's kind of wanting to float, but it doesn't. It sank. All right, now the heaviest item of all that we have, and the biggest item, popcorn. Jar of popcorn. Float or sink? I think float. Oh, look at that, it did float. There's a lot of air in that container. So that's our activity today. Guys, thank you so much for having me. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Again, remember, you're a beloved child of God.